everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a lovely day. Thank you so much for your lovely comments on my last video, and thank you for those of you that have just started following me. Thank you so much for sharing where you're from. It's lovely to see where in the world you're watching from. We get to know each other on this channel, so it's nice to build up a picture about different things that you're up to, and I share what I'm up to. So in this video you're going to see a bit of a mix. So I'm going to get back up on top of the kitchen, much more than what I have been the last couple of days. I also do some sorting out in our dining room. You'll see me getting loads of my washing dry, clearing the table up a little bit, putting some decorations on my tree, and generally having a sort out. I do a bit of cleaning as well. So really quite busy. So today has been very wet and windy here in England, and actually the whole country, in some parts of the country, that's dealing with a really bad storm. So I'm really hoping there's not going to be a lot of damage to houses and schools. So hopefully it won't be too bad. So here we sort of see the tail end of it here. So we're not, badly affected. It's just not very nice. And disappointingly, all the things that we planned for Sunday have been cancelled. So during the day, we were going to take our nephew out for part of his birthday present. That's been cancelled because of the weather. And then sort of in the later evening, we were going out with my sister-in-law for part of her birthday present, and that's been cancelled. And the real shame of it is all the other dates are booked up. So it's a bit of a disappointment for my sister-in-law, part of her birthday present, just to have it cancelled. We'd all been really looking forward to that, so that really is a shame. So today, first thing this morning, we went to see Moana 2. Really, really good film. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and the time went quite quickly. Here we have these cinemas that are so different now. Where it used to be, there used to be like about 20 seats in a row, each row. Now we have about 8 seats, and they're like completely lounge seats, so you can recline right back and put your feet up. And got a bit cool in there really without my coat, and I actually went with a t-shirt on, which probably wasn't sensible for December. But I put my coat under me. And then my daughter sat right close to me, and she had her popcorn, and we sat and watched the film. So that was nice. It was the Girl Guides United Kingdom screening. So it was all for guiding. So guides, brownies, rainbows. And I tried to book the tickets for all of my Girl Guides. And that showed that there were only 4 tickets left. So we couldn't book them. So I just booked 2, one for me and one for my daughter. And then when we got there today, there was about 22 tickets. So when we came back out, I said, that showed that all the tickets were booked. Such a shame, because I could have taken them all after all. So as you know, when I got to 3,000 followers, I've got my giveaway. The rules I've written in the community pages. YouTube do require me to have rules, which in summary says that the giveaway is wholly my responsibility. There's no cost to the person who's entering. I will pay all costs, including postage. If there's any issues or problems with my giveaway, that's nothing to do with YouTube. It's all my fault. That is the summary. I've got 4 macrame hangers that I'm going to be giving away. And over the course of the last sort of month or so, people have been adding on one of my videos if they are interested in being in the draw. Clearly, I don't want to clutter up other people's houses. So if they don't have indoor plants, or they don't have a purpose for one of these, obviously, then they don't need to comment in my video. But a number of people have. So these people are going to be entered into the draw, and I am going to announce 2 of the people who've won today. So if you watch the rest of this video, then you will see who the winners are of my 3,000 subscriber giveaway. So the people who have commented on my channel are Jane Mercer, Michelle Agren, LV Frankie, Lizzie from Wales, Holly Oz, Pam Woodard, Miss Shareed, Budgie Buddo, Anne 6052, Jessica Stedman, Linda Hayes, Carrie Rawson, Barbara Palmore, Runs Mornings, Nan Holmes, Holly 782, High Forest, Chris Rules 1014, Judith Weimer, Katrina Valles, Teresa 469 from Belfast, Elsie Butterfly, Danish Abaya, and Janet Sides. They are all the people who have commented on my video who are interested in the giveaway. So listen out in this video to see if you have been lucky. So it's now evening time, and in a minute I'm going to go and say goodnight to my daughter, and then I'm going to do a little bit of work. So I know some of you will start calling out at the TV or your phone when you hear me say this, but do you remember for job 1, well, it's a long story, isn't it? For job 2, I was on a 0 hours contract and I didn't really want to be, and then there was a whole review and they offered me a sort of standard amount of hours, which at that point I had changed my mind, and I enjoyed this 0 hours contract because it works so well in the holidays, because in the holidays I don't do any hours and I don't have to book holiday, which worked really, really well. But the review then changed things, so I then did need to be put on a standard contract, but that is still extremely flexible. So I do those hours whenever I like. Ideally, not at the weekends, but actually if I'm catching up with things, nobody minds when I do them. I can do them any time of the day that fits in with the learner. If I'm writing up my forms and reviews, I can do them whenever I like. So that works really, really well with having wanting to be there for my daughter. So when I have the time off for the Christmas holidays, I will probably work quite a few of the evenings, but when she's in bed, and I'll be able to go out and about and do all the things with her, and she'll have no idea of when I'm working and what I'm doing. So it is a juggle, because that does mean sometimes in the evening, rather than going to do the washing up, I will sit down and put the laptop on. But for the first job, do you remember I had offered to do more hours before I got these extra hours for job number 2? Well, my manager asked me again, would I be able to do some more hours? So I actually said to him, well, it's a shame you didn't ask me a bit earlier, if I'm honest. If you'd have asked me a few months ago, I would have jumped at the chance. But now, with my other work, with all my tutoring, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to take the extra hours on. So he said, oh, right, okay, well, if you can have a bit of a think about it. Well, because his memory is so, let me think of the right way of saying this, not that good. And I know all of us forget things sometimes, don't we? All of us do. But I have noticed that some people, the last few years, their memory has got considerably worse. But literally, a week later, he rang me up. Well, actually, he rang me up and I couldn't get to the phone. Hadn't answered. So I rang straight back, and he asked me to do something that I wasn't actually that keen on doing. It's basically someone else has made a mistake, but he wants me to phone up and apologise for the fact that a mistake has been made, and he wants me to sort the problem out. So I wasn't that keen on doing that for obvious reasons. But we talked that through, and then he said, in your hours. So he'd obviously completely forgot and thought that I just definitely wanted to do the extra hours, because he said, about your extra hours, I'm still waiting for your email. So I said, oh, what email is that? He said, oh, you were just going to email me with all the different things that you were going to be able to do in the extra hours that you're going to be doing. I said, oh, right. So I said, well, when were you thinking about this for? He said, well, I was thinking that it would start from January and go to April. So guess what? I'm going to do them. So it's not that many, and I feel like some weeks I'm already doing those hours and not getting paid for it. So I sort of feel like January and February, I'm not going to be going out and about quite so much, am I? Because it's really, really cold. And then by the time it gets to around like April time, The spring will be here and I'll be thinking about spring and summer, and then I will do fewer hours. That is what I'm thinking. Have I made a big mistake? Remember, I'm not going to be doing any invigilating. So invigilating would have been a few hours in May and then a few hours sort of June, July time. I'm not going to be doing that. Someone did say to me actually the other day on one of my posts, they said, oh, now you're not doing the invigilating, you can do something else like in the house. But the problem was I was borrowing those hours from one job, working flexibly on one job to do the third job. And then I was having to do the first job in the evening to catch up because I'd been doing the third job. So I was kind of juggling really. But I haven't got to juggle to do that. And that there was time that I spent driving to that job. So that's good. And it is only a few months. But of course, if I'd have been doing 0 hours on the second job, I could have just lowered those hours, but I'm not. I've got to fulfil that contract too, so it is a little bit different. So we'll see what that juggle brings. So as you'll see, I've been quite busy in the house with Christmas decorations. So my husband's done quite a lot, and so have I. But at the moment, I'm sitting on the sofa recording this. The Christmas tree lights have just turned off because it's got to 10 o'clock. I've probably got half the box of the Christmas decorations that still need to go on the tree. I've got most of the rug is covered with toilet paper and kitchen roll, which I've used to wrap up the decorations over many, many years. Some of the pieces of paper, they must be about 20 years old. I've got a whole box of Klingons, the box of Klingons that came from underneath the sofa. They're sitting on the rug. And I'm going to give the Christmas clothes that I was trying to sell, I'm going to give them to charity, apart from the Bowden ones. Because the Bowden ones are worth something, so I'm going to try and put them on eBay. But all the others, I'm going to give to the charity shop. And you'll be pleased to know I've got another big bin bag full of stuff ready to go to the charity shop. There's some good items there, so I'm hoping they'll be able to make a decent amount of money out of the things that I'm donating. Now, me and my daughter did have a little joke about the box of Klingons. So do you remember me saying that I bought somebody's collection that must have been from like their collection from the 70s or 80s? Because there were a couple of Klingons. I just liked Klingons. I just decided to buy the collection. Which now I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make the decision to buy someone else's stuff. But I took the ones out that I liked, and the others have been left in the box. I'm not quite sure what to do with them. So there's one that I'm going to give my sister, because there's one of them which is exactly the same as what she had when she was little. There's a couple that I'm going to keep. And then me and my daughter made this song up. Honestly, she was nearly crying with laughter. And the song was all about decluttering Klingons into other people's houses. Because what we thought is, as it's Christmas time, I can take a Klingon out with me. I can get close to their Christmas tree. And I can just put the Klingon on the tree. And then, when they pack the tree up, they'll be like, wow, where did this pig Klingon come from? Or wow, where did there's a little fluffy bird that's got long stripy legs. That was the one that we were really laughing about. They'll take it off and they'll be like, wow, where did this come from? When I was last at a family member's house, I was looking at all the birthday cards that were up. I said, oh, can I look at your birthday cards? And they said, yes. So I was looking. And then when I sat down, I thought, oh, bother. I hadn't looked right behind the cards to see if that vase was still there. You know, the vase that I decluttered in their house. Then I went to someone else's house and the vase is there. I checked. So one of the ones that I decluttered is there. So that did make me smile. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of your comments now. So thank you so much for all of you that take the time to write comments on my posts, whether it's one word, one sentence, or a big paragraph. I love them all and I read them all. So thank you so much. So the first comment is from our dear friend Brooke. Now, Brooke has had an enjoyable few days, we think, because she's not told us yet, but at the Christmas market in Chicago. So I'm hoping that she might be posting some photographs or doing a little video and sharing that. So Brooke has met with her friend and gone to the Chicago Christmas market. I do need to look on a map where that is from where Brooke is based, because I'm not quite sure how far she's got to travel. So Brooke says, and I've got to get this right, I love that you are dusting and cleaning behind and below your couches. So I think everyone in America calls our sofas couches. So I call it a sofa, and sometimes I might call it a settee. I think it's perfectly fine to put games under your couch, even a basket full of stuff, just not loose papers as such. You would have a major problem if your daughter needed to record you ironing. Oh, that's because I talked about how I videoed my mum ironing. I really want to get that video. I bet when I recorded my mum ironing, my mum was younger than what I am now. That'd be really good to see that video. You're right. My daughter doesn't see me get the iron out. She sees my husband, Daddy, get the iron out far more frequently because he gets the iron out to iron a shirt every so often. You remember the feedback that I got after we'd been married about a year? His manager said, "Did you iron that with a pebble?" And he came home and told me. And that was the last time I ever ironed a shirt. Brooke says, I watched the Chronicles of Narnia series, but I honestly did not know you could ever buy Turkish Delight. So it's the Chronicle of Narnia series. Now, what about also the Box of Delights? So for those of you that are a similar sort of age to me and live in the United Kingdom, I'm sure you will remember the Box of Delights. That came on, so it was like Sundays leading up to Christmas. We watched it tonight. My daughter wasn't that keen because she does have full control of the TV when she's up, I would say. Very rarely do we put something on that we want to watch and she just kind of go along with it, which was when I was a child. There was, I'd say, out of 100 times that the TV was on, it was less than one time something that I wanted to watch. It was things like some Saturday night programmes, Coronation Street. Although actually saying that, I did used to get up early on a Saturday morning and watch Going Live. Those of you who remembered that. So yeah, she wasn't that keen. And then when they started showing the wolf and the scary fox face, she said, "Oh, can we turn this off?" But we did watch the whole episode in the end. But yes, Brooke, you can buy Turkish Delight, and Turkish Delight is absolutely delicious. So they sell Turkish Delight in lots and lots of different countries, and you must be able to buy it in America. But it's often you get it in like Arabian desserts, obviously in Turkey, but we have our own version of it, I'm quite certain. Oh, now I want to buy some Turkish Delight. I love Turkish Delight. When I was a little girl, you'd be able to get it in some of the cheap shops for like £1, and it was covered in icing sugar. There'd be loads of icing sugar in the bottom of the box, which I would also eat. When I used to teach kindergarten, we had a Thanksgiving feast for lunch the Wednesday before. We'd make table and room decorations. I did this with another teacher, so her class would dress up as Native Americans because she had a costume she wore, and mine as pilgrims. No, I did not wear a costume. Oh, you should have, Brooke. Then half you could have worn it of that time, dressed like in old-fashioned clothes. Then half of my class would go to her room and half of her class would come to my classroom for the feast. Many parents liked to help out, so it was lots of fun. There's a very interesting story, isn't it? That at a time when the groups of people got on so well. Because in our history, we learn about all the things that were destroyed. So many things that the Native Americans had and did. Their civilization, the way they worshipped, the way they cared for the land. Brooke says, like decluttering queen, I don't have a Christmas tree. This morning I finished putting out all the decor that I have. Pictures added to Instagram. Oh, thank you, Brooke. I'll have a look. Oh, actually, I think I might have seen your pictures there. I go into the Instagram accounts not that frequently, Those of you that don't follow me already, my Instagram is Getting Tidier. On Thursday, I had to go to Chicago to the Christmas market, and shopping with a friend. So we'll see if I come home with anything. So I think Brooke might be getting a Christmas item, some item of decoration for her apartment. You have a gem in your husband. Yay, mini Emma for persevering and reading the book. Yeah, with positive consequences, isn't it? I think it's very easy sometimes. We've all done that, haven't we? Read part of a book and thought, oh, I'm not getting into it. And you keep on going and then it becomes really gripping. Your Christmas setup in the dining room is wonderful. I had to laugh at how impatient you were to see it work. The train reminds me of one that was on Mr. Rogers' Neighbourhood when I was a kid. Oh, I don't know about that. I've noticed recently that there are several content creators who have shown a calendar they keep in their home that syncs everybody's schedule. If you're interested, I will try to pay attention if I see one in the future to share with you. Yeah, that sounds interesting, Brooke. Is this paper-based or is this electronic? We do always have a paper-based family calendar, and I would say that works very effectively until about May or June. And I would guess that if I now went into the kitchen and I looked at the calendar, which was bought and written up in order for me to kind of plan everything that's happening in the house, I would guess it's still sitting on June. That's my guess. I'll let you know if it's right. Thank you for your comment, Brooke. I appreciate your suggestions, ideas and comments. Jane Mercer says, I love the Lego Village. Thank you for that. Holly says, oh, bless her, getting teary because she was so tired. I get like that at 31. When I'm too tired in social situations, and she put a little laughing face. I do understand that. Andrea says, I absolutely love your husband's train. Please tell him how much I enjoyed it. Wish we could have seen it in person. I love Christmas villages. I don't have the patience to set it up myself. I would just do the tracks and that's it. Ha ha. Oh. Alison Chamberlain says, hi Emma, I've been picturing a box of 30 Klingons from Star Trek, but not the ones you were talking about. I did laugh at myself when I realised I'd got it wrong. Oh. Watching Till Jesus Comes. Oh, I love the Lego set and train. It's so sweet. I've not commented in a while as I have had terrible toothache and will be going for a root canal tomorrow. Urgh. Goodness me. Teeth are wonderful when you didn't have any problems with them. So awful when you get any sort of pain or problem. I hope the treatment went okay. Watching Till Jesus Comes and it's not hurting anymore. Sally Bombali says, absolutely love your Lego Christmas Village. I've lots of Lego too, but no Christmas ones yet. Although I have got the Harry Potter Hogsmeade set, which could be the start of my village. Oh, you could do a Harry Potter Christmas Village. Oh, that'd be good. Is the little train made from Lego too? Yes, it is. It's a little tram, really. We haven't got the Lego train. We would like that, but they're very difficult to find. It's like a little tram. Sally Lovejoy said, here's a story to make you chuckle. I was lying in bed one night and heard a strange noise. I put the light on and the lid of my ottoman was slowly opening. I sat there, frozen in panic. I laughed out loud when I realised that the vacuum bag containing a vintage eiderdown had failed me. God dear, I can imagine how you felt for a few seconds. Ginny, you telling me that story has reminded me of when my husband was in the forces and we'd not long been married and he had to go away for several weeks. And so we'd both lived at home until we got married. We'd come back from our honeymoon and we'd moved into our first home together, which we had actually bought a year before, but we'd spent time, painting and doing bits and pieces. We hadn't moved in. And so we moved in and I was still very much getting used to all the noises in the house. And then when he was away, I'd lay there and I'd hear all these noises. And I'd lay there and I'd imagine, so I'd hear a few creaks and I would imagine someone walking over the wooden floorboards. And then I'd hear, obviously it was like the water pipes, but then I'd imagine someone was walking up the stairs. And I'd I'd really scare myself. And in the end, I'd just get my head under the duvet and try to go to sleep. Oh dear. Carolyn says, are you going to declutter your Christmas decor? Don't think I can, Carolyn. I don't think there's anything to declutter. You'll laugh at me saying that. The funny thing is that each year I look at like one Christmas ornament and I think, oh, I could get rid of that. And then I think, what's the point of getting rid of one? That's going to make a lot of space, is it? So I end up putting it on the tree and putting it back in the box. So as promised, I'm going to reveal the very first winner of one of my macrame hangers. So I've got a list of people and I'm going to ask my husband to choose a number. Can you choose any number between 1 and 24?
Number 3.
3. Okay, so the first person who's won one of my macrame hangers is LV Frankie. LV Frankie, you are the first winner. In terms of contact details, if you are able to comment on this post, I will then send a reply back with my email address. If you can then send to my email address your details, I will arrange to post out the first macrame hanger. Congratulations and thank you for your support of my channel. Right, I'm going to do one more and then in my next video I'll do the other 2. So just at the point when my husband thought he could start watching the cricket again, got no idea who's playing. England and someone, I guess. New Zealand, I think. I'm going to ask him for another one. So can you choose another number? 1 to 24.
4.
Oh, that's a laugh. You chose 3 and then you chose 4. Thank you. Right, so number 4 is Lizzie from Wales. Lizzie, you've won the second one. So if you could do the same thing, if you can comment on this post, and then I will then send you my email address, and then if you can send my email address directly, that'd be great. Please don't anybody actually post your address on my page. That is what somebody did last time. And that reminds me, actually, I don't think Barbara from Ireland follows the channel anymore. I wonder how she is. Do you remember she would talk about, she posts on every single video and she'd talk about her sons and what she's up to. I hope she's all okay. But yeah, Lizzie from Wales, if you comment on my post and I will reply with my email address and then you can let me have your contact details via email so it's confidential. Something that I wanted to mention and that I've been thinking about recently is the more that you declutter and clear out and the more you clean, the more you realise that some small areas have not been cleaned in a very long time. So for example, in a minute, you will see me clean the top of my radiator in the hall. Now it's only because the radiators, all radiators are a bit of a dust trap, aren't they? So I was dusting off the dust and then I looked at the top because I was quite close with a brush getting the dust off on the little ledges and the little bits where it can get trapped. Before I hung the clothes on there to dry, I looked along the top and I thought, I don't think I've ever really cleaned the top of this radiator. You know, where I guess sometimes people will stand in the hall and touch the radiator and stuff, I'm not quite certain. But I wasn't sure what to use because you've got to be careful, haven't you? And I did put a spray once on my radiator in the kitchen and it corroded part of it. So I dare not do anything like that. So I checked with my husband and said, do you think it's okay if I put a little tiny bit of vinegar on a duster and just wipe the top of the radiator? He said no. He said because our house would smell like a fish and chip shop. I said, well, the smell will pass really, really quickly. So he said, okay. So I put a little bit on a dry cloth and then I just rubbed where there was like dust and just basically grime off the top, and that came off really nicely. You can't see it that much on the video. I do zoom in a little while so you can see it. But you can't get, unless you're really, really close. It's not that easy to see. But the more you look and the more you clear and the more you sort, the more you see things and you think, goodness me, when was the last time that I actually cleaned the top of the radiator? Possibly never. Also with these radiators, where that goes down and hits the skirting board, I find that can get quite dusty. And you see I've still got that container that I decluttered from the pantry and the telephone, which I'm not quite sure what to do with. Now, I know people will be saying, well, where would you look for it? Well, the telephone, I'd look for it in the shoe cupboard. I'm not sure I really want to put it in the shoe cupboard. And that bowl container I was thinking about getting rid of, but then I thought, oh, it's quite handy to do, like, you know, in the summertime, I might do salad potatoes. People come round for a barbecue, I could put the salad potatoes in there. So I'm thinking about possibly keeping it, in which case that will go back into the pantry. But I'm trying to clear that whole bit because I am finding that's getting more and more cluttered. Look at my little table. It's got a hat on and a snud, which I need to give to my sister. They've been sitting there since Halloween. I should pop them round really and just leave them at hers. So as I said, I'm getting quite close to the end of my video now. So thank you very much for your ongoing support. Thank you for following me. Your comments, your suggestions are really helpful. I've still got a lot more Christmas things to put up. And as a result, I've got a lot more clearing up to do because every time you empty a box, you have to put the box back up into the loft cupboard. But also you then have to hoover because it all gets, you get bits and pieces. A couple of our little trees that we have around the house, the fake pine needles slowly fall about onto the floor. So that all needs to be hoovered. So it sort of feels like someone said to me the other day, always gets worse before it gets better. So I'm going to go through three more comments before I finish. So Robin Daniels says there's still so much we didn't realise until we empty cupboards. One of my kids refuses to get rid of any of his stuffed toys or Lego. Absolutely won't discuss it. But he's great at powering down his clothes that he no longer wears. Well, that's good. And there probably will come a time where he will be willing to get rid of some of his stuffed toys. And he will be willing to get rid of some of his Lego. But just not now, I guess. Have I told you all the story of a family member whose mum got rid of some of the toys? I don't know whether I've told you about this before. I might have mentioned it in one of my very early videos. But one of my family members, when they were a small child, they went along to a fete. And at this fete, there was a really sweet little miniature train going round in circles. And it was like magical. And on the little train were little teddy bears and soft toys and cuddlies. And as they stood there staring and captivated by this lovely train, they suddenly recognised one of the toys. And then they recognised a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth. And suddenly realising that couldn't actually be a coincidence, then said to their mum about the toys. And their mum said, "Oh yes, all your cuddly toys. You've finished with them now, haven't you? I gave them all away." Now, Brooke is a play therapist and works with children who have gone through various different difficult situations, and I know what Brooke would say about that. So obviously that was really, really upsetting. And don't you think that if something like that happened to a lot of children, that could make them feel like never parting with anything? I couldn't believe it when I heard that story. I can almost imagine my family member standing there like as a small child and just watching this little train go round and suddenly realising, oh, the little train with all the lovely cuddly toys, they're all my cuddly toys that my mum's given away. Just can't believe someone would do that. Anyway, each their own. LV Frankie says UK Costco. Okay, so UK does have a Costco. I don't think that we've got one in Norfolk. makes my other half annoyed. UK Costco only offers individual membership to current or retired employees of selected employment groups or professions, whereas in Australia, you just have to pay an annual membership fee. He thinks it should be open to everyone regardless of your employment. I think that's a good point. We have a Costco in Adelaide, says Louise Tilbrook, but it's north and I live south. I'll never go and shop at Costco because I don't drive and I don't believe in paying membership to shops. Yeah, not many places seem to have that membership now, but I do know what you're saying. Carolyn says, my husband put in a new toilet today. I don't want to talk about the wall behind the toilet tank. Oh, what happened, Carolyn? Carolyn doesn't want to talk about it. It's pretty impressive that your husband can put in a new toilet. That requires quite a lot of different skills to be able to do that, so I'm quite impressed with that. And then lastly, Carolyn says, the debris under the couch. Yikes. So that brings me towards right at the end of my video. So thank you so much for following. Thank you for watching and keeping up to date with my journey. If you're new here, please do watch a couple of videos back. It all helps. And you'll be able to see kind of how I was and how I've become. I certainly am changing and I'm certainly getting better. I'm in this for the long run. It's not something that I could ever possibly sort out within a month, because this is years of me keeping hold of things and kind of not really having a regular routine for sorting things out and cleaning and tidying up. So I've still got lots to learn, and you have all taught me a lot and given me lots of tips, which has been so very, very helpful. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!